Is it a mistake to think that aviation, air travel in the US has suddenly become less safe?
I think that is a mistake. First of all, it's just common sense. Yes, it's true that in the last month or two, we have had a number of events, some of them unnerving, a few of them fatal. And one might look at that and say, my goodness, I had thought flying was safe. I never gave a second thought. And now I can't do anything but give thought to it. But uh, there's no reason to believe, for example, that our ability to fly safely now is lower than that 2 months ago or 3 months ago or 4 months ago, when we went month after month after month without a single incident that took a single injury, let alone a death. So I mean, that I wouldn't expect to be a sign of something systematic. It's also true when you're dealing with rare events. Actually, the laws of probability say you're going to go for some long periods when nothing happens, interspersed with others when you have a burst of events, a temporary spasm of luck, bad luck, if it's the events are unhappy events. And I think that is the most reasonable explanation for what's happening now. So I don't take it seriously and think I'm at greater risk now than I was, let's say, 2 months ago. Actually, the opposite, because for example, I fly sometimes into Washington's Reagan Airport, and now we know that the paths of helicopters and the paths of the airplanes were shockingly close together. In fact, the New York Times said at one point the prescribed altitudes are only 15 feet apart, as planes were on the final approach to landing, and the helicopters had an upper limit of 200, and the planes had a lower limit at one point of 215 over the Potomac. Anyway, we're not going to see those helicopters now. They've been drastically reduced over there. And in that sense, we never knew we were at such potential risk, but tragically, we now know there was such risk and it had terrible consequences. But now I think the risk has drastically diminished. And I think that's happened again and again. There are things in aviation we've learned the hard way, and they have prevented tragedies in the future. But we're also learning in other ways that don't necessarily involve deaths. They used to say the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, had a tombstone mentality, meaning it was only after crashes that they started making reforms and offering proposals. I don't think that's as true today. So I mean, the risks are minimal.